This is brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power Shareef Hamid on YouTube, subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Peace, Queen, what's going on? Thank you for logging on for this important message tonight. As always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. He is one. We thank God for the Metu Netter. That's oracles, scriptures, and writings that came thousands of years on the continent of Africa, way before any organized religion, thousands of years before any organized religion. That's the Metu Netter, a book, oracles, scriptures, and writings that I advise people to look into. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black conscious family, hotep. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. And to my people in the streets, what's good with you? So once again, this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement. If you haven't already subscribed, please go to Hour of Power Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. We believe that the Hour of Power is one of the most premier media outlets in York and abroad that gives you unadulterated truth that we can prove with no limit or time. That's the Hour of Power. No shade on anyone else. Whatever anyone else is doing to lift our mind, body, and soul, we back them up. But we believe 150% in what the Hour of Power is producing, not just through words, but what we're producing in the streets. And tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on channel 16, local access TV, and streaming live on Facebook, not for show, but we're going to produce right before your eyes what the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement is about. We're going to do our first, and hopefully not the last, makeover show, where we're going to take 2 young men from around the way, as they say, and we're going to transform them right before your eyes. From head to toe. From head to toe. Haircut, shirt, bow tie, pants, shoes. And it ain't about the material things. That's just something to motivate them so we can build their mind, body, and soul. So that's going to be right before your eyes tomorrow on the Hour of Power. And salute to our queen, Sister Alicia, the producer of the Hour of Power. This was all her idea. So just because you see me doing the interviews and different things like that, please know that I have plenty backing and help, even beyond what the Hour of Power is, but what you're going to see tomorrow night with God's help, which is historic here, at least in York around here. Know that that was her idea. I don't want no one going around, because it's going to be one for the ages, saying, oh, Brother Shareef, man, that was off the hook. No, I'm just there assisting her idea, and I've helped, but this was all her idea. So salute to our queen. You the real MVP. So again, that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on channel 16 local access TV, if you have that cable service, and then it'll be streaming live on Facebook. Our first makeover show. We're going to take 2 brothers from the hood, from around the way, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to transform them. But we ain't just going to send them off after the show is over, say, yeah, we got our ratings and all that. No, it ain't about that. We're going to continue to pour love, knowledge, into them afterwards and hopefully we can keep it going. Now, before I get into this message, we have something else that the Hour of Power wants to produce, and I need your participation with this. On October the 20th, we want to take at least 5 youth, male or female, to the Blacks in Wax Museum in Baltimore. October the 20th, on Saturday, I want to take at least 5 youth, male or female, to the Blacks in Wax Museum, but more are welcome to go, but I have funding to take at least 5, okay? The Blacks in Wax Museum is on North Avenue in Baltimore, and they have renovated this place, this museum. I took, not me, but I helped when I was in North Carolina, and I was the Black History instructor for the Rites of Passage. We took a whole group of boys there, and that's before they renovated it. I mean, this place is amazing. The wax figures there looks like you're standing in front of a human being. They have the pictorial of the actual slave ships that they call Jesus. Yes, they have it there, and they can explain to you how they put us on slave ships. They have the part where it shows the lynchings. It's a little graphic, but I've already showed you that. They have all the figurines of all, not all, but many of those who have contributed to our history, African and African American. So on October 20th, the museum is open from 9 to 5 on Saturdays. I have funding to take at least 5 youth, boys or girls. If someone else wants to come, we can get a discount. Here are the prices. So it's open from 9 to 5, Blacks in Wax Museum. Takes about 45 minutes to get there. Adults is $15, okay? Children ages 12 to 17 is $14. Children ages 3 to 11 is $12. If we can get a group discount, that's why I want more people to go to me, then it's only $10.50 per person, okay? So I have to ask them, what exactly do they consider a group? Is that 5, 6, 7? But when I look it up online, it just says a group discount is $10.50 per person. I'm assuming at least 10 people. I would like to at least take 10 of us. And I have funding to pay for at least 5 youth, boy or girl. And again, adults is $15. Children between 12 and 17 is $14. Children between the ages of 3 and 11 are $12. And if we go as a group, and I'll find out what that group is, the number of the group, then it's only $10.50. And if we want a guide, a tour guide to explain what this picture is and what this is, then it's $3, then it's $13.50. But I can give you the tour. I'm not bragging, but I can do that. But it's up to you. So that's October the 20th, 2 Saturdays from now. I want to do that. Inbox me if you want to go or if you want to bring your youth. So we don't have to get into renting a bus and a van and all that. We'll just take our own vehicles. Hopefully, if someone needs help with gas and you want to go, I'll see if I can help you out with that. But let's take our youth down there. Some of these youth don't never get out of York. Some of them don't go no further than Penn Park or their own neighborhood or past their school. That will be historic. If we can take youth from York to the Blacks in Wax Museum, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So again, inbox me if you're interested in going. We can take as many as we want. But I have funding to pay for 5 youth to go to the Blacks in Wax Museum October the 20th. I would like to be there no later than 12. But it's open from 9 to 5. Anyone is welcome to go. But I have funding for 5. And talking about the funding, let me see where it is here. And then we'll get into our message. Yeah, right here. Man, salute to my brother Jermaine Bailey from McKinley. He is a teacher and an instructor there. He is the one that provided me with the funding to take 5 youth to the Blacks in Wax Museum. He's a part of a bike club called 0 to 100 MC. 0 to 100 MC in DeHavo RC. I don't know what those stand for, but Jermaine Bailey, He's a part of a bike club, and he's a teacher and instructor at McKinley with our good sister Russie. He's a part of a bike club called 0 to 100 MC in Dahavo. I think I'm saying that right. RC. They are the ones that donated the funds so we can take our youth from York City to the Blacks and Wax Museum. Man, salute, bro. Salute. I don't want to hear nothing about, York ain't about nothing and no one ain't York ain't doing nothing and we don't stick together. Man, this brother contacted me early this morning and said, what do you need? And then a couple hours later, he hit me back and said, come pick it up whenever you need it. And salute to our brother James Way for making that contact. See, we all working together. We working together. Now we just got to get more brothers and sisters to work together for the betterment of ourselves and our youth. Man, salute, bro. Salute, salute, salute. Now, for our message tonight. And Sister Russie, I see you there. I hope you and your son come on October 20th to the Blacks and Wax Museum. Your son seemed to be very interested. And if you get a hold of Sister Kiona, I would, man, her son was really dropping some heavy questions and bombs when we did the Say No to Columbus. So I hope you guys, you ladies, can make it to the Blacks and Wax Museum October the 20th and spread this message and invite whoever you want. It's just I have funding to take care of 5 youth on that day. Now, he saw the best in me when everyone else around only saw the worst in me. I did part 1 about a week or 2 ago, and now here is part 2. I'm going to get the rough part out the way, and then we're going to elevate the black and brown woman to your rightful place as queens of the earth. Do you know that? You have that title by birth. You just have to know it and wear it, wear that label, wear your crown, as Sister Alicia would say, and wear it proud and live by it. You are naturally the queens of the earth. Evidenced by, I've been saying this, and by the way, if you didn't see the importance of African and Black history, the lecture I did last night, please, I'm not bragging, go back and check that out. We gave a thorough history of some hidden history with African and Black history. That was on my podcast last night. But evidence, you are the queens of this earth, evidenced by Dr. Louis Leakey. I've been quoting him a lot. He is a world-renowned anthropologist. And he found humanoid bones, the oldest humanoid bones in Kenya, dating back more than 4 million years, back in the 60s, when he was doing his excavation and doing archaeology. He found bones dating back 4 million years, and he named those bones Lucy after the hit group The Beatles. And he named the bones Lucy. It was about a 4-foot tall African woman from Kenya, proving that we, the humankind, started in Africa from a woman. So you sisters are the queen of the earth. No doubt about it. And I'm going to show you in just a few short minutes. But first, I just want to briefly talk about how we, so to speak, lost our queenship, or at least mentally. Coming here to America, they have systematically and deliberately have shown Black women in a negative light and have put negative, false stereotypes on Black women via movies and TV shows. It's no secret. Even back in the 50s and 60s, when Black women were barely even allowed to be in Hollywood, the first thing they did was show you in a negative light. Gone with the Wind and all these slave movies with our sister, I think her name is Hattie McDaniel, right? You was either serving the white man and woman, being subservient to them, hypersexual as we started moving up through the 60s and 70s. Almost every movie you've seen, the Black woman was shown as hypersexual, playing some whorish role, or being subservient to you know who. this has been our sojourn in the movie industry. And now moving up through the 70s, in the 80s, nothing has changed. Loudmouth black women, out of control and angry black women. Look at some of the TV sitcoms. And I know some of y'all may watch these things. You're grown, you can watch what you want. But all I'm asking you to do is look how they portray you and how those portrayals and stereotypes affects our thinking and our perception of each other. Empire and Power and Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. Always a single black woman who can't find a good man. Really, it's the destruction of the whole family. But I'm just specifically talking about the black woman. Really, it's the destruction of the whole family, the black man, woman, and child. But look how they portray us, and particularly our women in these movies. Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. Single black women, divorced, can't find a good man, angry, bitter, acting whorish in a lot of these movies and these TV shows. Almost every TV show you see, it's a dysfunctional black family, a dysfunctional, angry, loudmouth black woman. Even the comedy shows, they're putting that narrative in there. Big, what was it called with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? Big Mama's House and the Nutty Professor. Always negative stereotypes and narratives of black women. So no wonder we call each other the B word. Viewer discretion is advised. So no wonder we call each other and refer to each other, because, the visual has a huge effect on the mental. We see these things over and over again. We start thinking it's true. But they have deliberately done, you know what I'm talking about. They have deliberately done these things with TV shows and movies throughout the years. Negative stereotypes of black women. And they have all but destroyed the black family through TV shows. And even when we tried to portray ourselves as being functional and together, they gave us a hard time. How do we know? Good times. Good times. Do you know? And help me with Florida Evans, Esther Rolle. That was her name. When they approached Esther Rolle for this, for the role in the narrative of Good Times, the famous hit show, one of my favorite shows of all time. Do you know when film directors first approached her, they tried to get her to play Good Times, as her role in Good Times is a single black mother? Did you know that? You can look it up on YouTube. They tried to get Esther Rolle to play Good Times as a single black mother in the hood. She said, absolutely not. She said, I will not play this role unless you put a strong black man by my side. Man, salute to you, Esther Rolle, for you standing up. And salute to Lena Horne, who I talked about, He Saw the Best in Me Part 1. She refused to play any negative roles that stereotype black women as in her movies back in the 60s and 70s. I'm talking about Lena Horne now. Salute to you, Queen. May you rest in peace. But Esther Rolle refused to take the role as a single black mother in Good Times. That's how, is it John Amos with James Evans? I believe that's his real name. That's how he got into it. And the demons still got their way. John Amos, better known as James Evans, he wanted Michael and Thelma to be the star of the show because they was black conscious and they were educated. But what the producers did, they made the buffoon and the clown, JJ, the star of the show. So that was a riff from the beginning. Number one, they never wanted him on the show because they wanted Esther Rolle to be a single black mother. She said, absolutely not. I won't take the role. So finally they said, okay, we'll get you, like they always seem to get their way. So what they did was they allowed John Amos, a.k.a. James Evans, for them to be a functional family unit, which shows you don't gotta have a lot of money to have a functional family. They showed it. And I know some people will say, well, Brother Shareef, that's just a TV sitcom. Yeah, but that's real life. You don't gotta have a lot of money to have a functional family. They showed us. That's why they got rid of him. Number one, they never wanted John Amos on the show, and he started raising hell behind the scenes. He said, why isn't Michael, why isn't Thelma, the two that are black power and black conscious? Why aren't they the star of the show? Why does this buffoon and clown JJ got to be the star of the show? So they were pissed off with him from the jump just for raising that. So what did they do? 2-3 years in to the show, maybe 2 years, they stage this accident and James Evan is taken off the show. That's what they did. That's what they did. If he wasn't raising hell, well, they was going to get rid of him anyway. But by him raising hell, saying Michael and Thelma should be the star of the show, they said this nigger gotta go. So they stage an accident on the show, and John Amos, a.k.a. James Evans, was put off the show. So him being a strong black man and them having a strong black family together was gone. So the devils got their way anyway. She was right back being to a single mother in the hood with all these children to raise, which is exactly what they wanted from the beginning. So throughout time, throughout Hollywood, they have given negative stereotypes to black women: loud, out of control, angry, bitter, against the black man, dysfunctional. And unfortunately, some of our women play out that role in real life. But a change is going to come. This is the purpose of the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement, to spread love, understanding, and knowledge, to put you, black woman, back in your rightful place as the queen of this earth. It isn't racism. It's just what it is. Everyone else loves themselves. Why can't we lift you up? This is your rightful place. And before I get into what your rightful place is, I want to show you the depths of what these people will go through to not only destroy the black woman, but to destroy the black man. Give me, well, you're already giving it to me. Give me some hearts or some black fist sign if you're feeling this. I'm going to take you to a YouTube clip of a nasty, nasty stunt that they tried to pull just in 2012. Write this down. You may not hear this anywhere else. Only the Hour of Power. They tried to come out with a short film in 2012 called A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Write it down. A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. They tried to come out with this short film and they tried to turn it into a TV sitcom. This attempt to destroy the black family through a TV sitcom is absolutely sadistic. It's called A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Did you write that down? I'm about to show it to you. It's only about 1 or 2 minutes. With this show that they tried to come out with, but people stopped it. It is about an upper middle class black family. A man who was a world-renowned poet named Sidney. And I forget his wife's name. And then he had a son named Isaiah. The movie starts out, the dad, Sidney, walks into his son's Isaiah room and Isaiah is masturbating, right? And he tells his son that it's okay. So I'm assuming that the father molested the son earlier because he made it seem like it was okay. And he was acting in a strange way. As the show goes on, as this sitcom goes on, are you listening to me? As the sitcom goes on, as Isaiah becomes a little bigger and stronger and he gets 12, he reverses it and starts sexually abusing and molesting the father, and the father does nothing about it. The mom later finds out that the son and her husband, Sidney, is having this strange relationship. She sits by and almost acts like she don't see it. They tried to come out with this, and as Isaiah turns into a grown man and gets older, he continually sexually abuses and molests his own father, and the father is too damn weak to fight him off. They actually tried to come out with a TV sitcom with this to destroy the black family. A dysfunctional son, a weak and docile, and we're assuming a molesting dad, and a mother who sits by and watches and says nothing. I'm about to show it to you. Are you okay? I'm just showing you what they have tried to do to the black family. Before I show this, viewer discretion is advised. Can you give me a black fist or a heart to let me know that you okay? Our power, we're just raw. We're just raw, but we're telling you the truth. I'm not going to show it unless I get a black fist sign or a heart or something. It's called A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. I'm not going to show you nothing graphic. I just want to show you what they tried to do. Seeing is better than believing. Okay, there's one. Here we go. Thank you, sis. My sis Melody is watching, supporting me. I'm going to show you. This is called, and I want you to Google this. It's called A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. That's the father, Sydney.
And if we could all just look straight ahead, please. Wonderful. And we're a happy little family with a
That's the mother.
big smile.
And there's the son, Isaiah.
Fantastic.
Now, him looking at his father like that, that's not a normal look. He's lusting after his father.
Sorry, I thought I was.
That's Isaiah there, the son. He's lusting after his father. That's why he's looking at him like that. And look at the mom trying to get his attention. Now, this is Isaiah as a grown man. That's his wife there in the middle with the white. And then look how the father is looking there, right here. That's the father. Look at the look on his face, because he's been being sexually abused by his son right there for the last 15-some years. That's the father right there. They're zooming in on Sydney. Look at the look on his face. Look at him. Look how he's whispering in his ear. And look at this. This is what they were trying to come out with. Look at that crap. See that? He's being traumatized. Bang. I'm not going to show anymore. That's A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. You can look it up on YouTube. That's all you got to Google. And it's called A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. We tried to come out with this in 2012, I believe. And it was going to be a sitcom. And again, the whole plot was the boy, Isaiah, that I showed you, his dad caught him masturbating. Viewer discretion is advised. And we're assuming that the father was sexually molesting him. And then the son switched it on him when he got 12 and got older and started sexually abusing the father. And the father was just too weak and docile to fight it off. And the mother stood by and did nothing. They tried to come out with this as a weekly show. Or at least bi-weekly. But some people in our community fought it off. A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Have you ever heard of it before? But you heard of it on the Hour of Power. See how we unearth things? See how dangerous this channel is? Yeah. Now for the positive. Now to put the black woman in your rightful place as queens of the earth. And for you to know how important it is to bring that family structure back. This is going to eradicate hate, division in our community, and it'll eventually eradicate violence in our community by having that strong family structure. Like the good times. Like the good times. Meaning literally the show, The Good Times. These are the solutions to eradicate all the violence in our community. The hate and the rancor that we have for each other. If we bring that strong family unit back together, almost all our problems will go away overnight. But the powers that be, keep coming up with little tricks to keep us divided, but we have to rise above that. Even the book says God first, the man, the woman, and the children. That's the unit. That's what made Africa strong, a strong family structure. Do you know that in their own statistics, a black man with a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, a white man with no degree can have just as much earning potential as a black man with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? Did you hear me? A white man with no degree can have just as much, if not more, earning potential than a black man with a bachelor's degree or master's degree, by their own statistics. Why do I bring that up? That is to move us out, or to almost demasculate us in the family structure, if we even have one. The black woman is making most of the money these days. No fault of your own, but that's on purpose. The black woman is making, and it's more black men, as they say, in jail than in college. So that really moves us down with earning potential. But again, a white man with no degree can potentially make more than a black man with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. That's on purpose. So sisters, if you make more than your man, as long as that man is honoring you, respecting you, and being a man, he's still the man of that house. It don't matter if you make 10 million a year and he only makes 10,000 a year. If that man is being a man, protecting you, protecting your children, and respecting you, and doing the best he can, he is still the man of that house. No white man on the back of no dollar bill is going to dictate to me what kind of man I am. I'm not going to let it happen. And neither should you. But they're trying to move us out of the house and out of a job altogether. You can't let that happen. And God forbid, viewer discretion is advised. They're trying to move us out of a job altogether. Y'all earning potential, and y'all are going to school and earning it. No one's saying you're not earning it. But y'all have way more earning potential, typically these days, than a black man. And God forbid if some of y'all make some visits to the toy store. I'm going to say it again. If some of y'all get so frustrated and y'all make some visits to the toy store, and I'm not talking about Toys R Us. If some of y'all make some visits to the toy store, we are all out of a job. Completely. You feel me? We are completely out of a job if y'all start that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's getting a little hot in here. I better get some water. Don't let your man get moved out of a job. All right? Now, to the positive stuff. Y'all need to be put back in your rightful place as queens of the earth. It ain't nothing like the black woman. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you smell, it's nothing like you. The brothers have to recognize that, and you have to recognize that. When you look up the word loyalty in the dictionary, your picture should be right beside it. History tells us that, but some of our brothers have lost their way, and they don't realize your value and how you, meaning the black woman, have stuck by our side from day one. Because some of us don't know our history, we don't understand the level of loyalty that many black women have. When the invaders, Arab invaders and European invaders, came into Africa and stole us out of Africa by force at gunpoint, you were there, meaning the black woman. When they forced us on the slave ships that can only hold 100 or 200, and they forced us on there 700-800 of us, you were there. When they raped the black woman, the children, and even the men in front of you, broke our spirit. They called it, I think, buck breaking. That's what they called it. Basically breaking the black man's spirit. Raping the black man in front of his children, and you were there. When they brought us here to this country and made us work from sun up to sundown, you were there. When they whipped us, tarred and feathered the whip, and tried to beat the manhood out of us, you were there to console us. When they raped us and even raped you, you were there. With segregation and Jim Crow, spraying us with hoses and sicking dogs on us, you were there. Through sharecropping, you were there. Through 100 years of lynchings, they lynched a black man in Mississippi before because he asked for a receipt at the post office. You were there. All right? Do you need me to go any further? When they supposedly got rid of slavery and let us go after 1865, and we were sharecropping, trying to make it. And some of us lost our mind because of the trauma that we had suffered hundreds of years before. We started drinking and taking drugs. You were there. Coming up to present day, we took on the negative aspects of the slave master, calling you bees, calling you hoes, disrespecting you, running around, making families with other women. You were there. You've always been there. So when we see loyalty in the dictionary, your picture should be there. Black man, you gotta realize this. Now, some of us have lost their way and lost their mind, but we're doing what we can to get their African mind back. Some of our sisters just ain't gonna do right, but most of them are good, honest women. I'm about to show you. I know this has been a little rough, but it's the truth. Now the positive stuff. Giving you your crown back and putting you in your rightful place as a queen. Have you ever heard of Althea Gibson? She was the first black woman to compete at Wimbledon. That's the tennis tournament. In 1951. She opened the door for other black female tennis players to play like Serena Williams. Her name is Althea Gibson, the first black woman to compete at Wimbledon, which is a major tennis tournament. She opened the door for other black female tennis players like Serena and Venus Williams. And you have seen what Serena has went through, be calling her a man and just disrespecting this sister. And she's a beautiful sister. Don't really agree with her marrying these white men, but you love who you love, whatever. But her contribution to tennis is undeniable. But if it wasn't for Althea Gibson, the first black woman to compete in Wimbledon, we may not have a Serena Williams. How about Amelia Boynton? She helped organize the 1965 Selma March. She was beaten by Alabama police, and she was the first black woman to run for Congress in Alabama, and she died at 104. This is Amelia Boynton, helped organize the 1965 Selma March with Martin Luther King. And she was beaten by Alabama police. The first black woman to run for Congress in the state of Alabama died at 104. How about Jane Boylan, first black woman to graduate from Yale Law School and became the nation's first black female judge in 1939. That's Jane Boylan. First black woman to graduate from Yale Law School, became the nation's first black female judge in 1939. How about Dr. Alexia Candy? First black neurosurgeon in the U.S. in 1981, and she saved thousands of lives. Thousands. Her name is Dr. Alexia Candy. First black neurosurgeon in the U.S. in 1981 and saved thousands of lives with her surgery. That's Dr. Alexia Candy. How about Dr. Mae Jemison, first black female astronaut to travel into space in 1992. That's Dr. Mae Jemison. first black female astronaut to travel into space in 1992. How about Marian Anderson? Wear your crown, queen, wear your crown. I'm showing you queens, past and present, that have achieved great things because they knew who they were. Marian Anderson, first black person to perform at the Metropolitan Opera in 1955, and the first black woman invited to perform at the White House. I'm going to say that again, and I have something to say about that. Marian Anderson, first black person to perform at the Metropolitan Opera in 1955, and the first black woman invited to perform at the White House. Did you know that the White House used to be segregated? Did you know that the White House wouldn't allow black people to even come in the White House unless they were serving? Did you know that? Here's the proof. Get this book. The Black History at the White House. And look at that picture there. And this book is written by Clarence Lucene. The Black History at the White House. What you're looking at is a Easter egg hunt back in the early 1900s at the White House. That is as close as black people could get to the White House. And this is a black boy showing around a white child at an Easter egg hunt at the White House, because that is as close as they could get. And actually, it wasn't called the White House then. It was called the President's House. I'm about to tell you how they got that name, meaning the White House. You following me? Let me see if I got this right here. Yes, October the 16th of 1901, the president at that time was President McKinley. He was assassinated. Who took over for him was Theodore Roosevelt. So Theodore Roosevelt took over for President McKinley, who was assassinated in 1901. Theodore Roosevelt, as he took over as president, he realized that Booker T. Washington, y'all heard of Booker T. Washington, was coming to town in D.C. So he invited Booker T. Washington, which then was known as the President's House, to what they called family supper or dinner. What Roosevelt didn't know that it would cause one of the worst firestorms in quote unquote the White House's history. None of these gestures, I'm reading out of this book that I just showed you. None of these gestures by Theodore Roosevelt should be interpreted as he liked black people. He was neither progressive or proactive in the issue of racial equality for black people. Talking about Theodore Roosevelt. In fact, he was quite blatant racist in both word and deed. It was Roosevelt who set the Republican Party on the path to seizing the white South's anti-black vote, which over time evolved into racially narrow political base, and the party represents contemporary U.S. politics. Roosevelt demeaned blacks with writings and speeches. Prior to becoming president, he wrote, meaning Roosevelt, blacks were the most utter and underdeveloped race of people that he ever seen, suffering from laziness and shiftlessness, and they were perfectly a stupid race who could never rise above a high plane. The Negro, for instance, has been kept down as much by a lack of intellectual development as anything else that I've ever seen. This was the words of Theodore Roosevelt, even though he invited Booker T. Washington to dinner. But by him inviting Booker T. Washington to dinner, it caused a huge firestorm nationwide, because typically black people weren't even allowed in the White House. As close as they could get is this right here. A black child escorting a white child around at an Easter egg hunt in the 1900s. That's as close as you could get. And as you can see, you see the White House in the background. We weren't allowed in there. Even though we built the White House, black slaves built the White House. Look what this senator said about Theodore Roosevelt inviting a black man, meaning one of our ancestors, Booker T. Washington, to family supper, or dinner as they called it. Mississippi Senator James Vardaman said that the dinner, meaning with Theodore Roosevelt and Booker T. Washington, it was saturated, meaning the White House, with the odor of the nigger and rats had almost taken over the whole stable. So he said it was such a foul stench in the White House after Booker T. Washington came there, you would think that rats took over the White House. Mississippi, a senator called the dinner the most damnable outrage he has ever seen perpetuated by any citizen in the United States. This is what a Memphis city council member said. He said it was the dinner between Booker T. Washington and Theodore Roosevelt. It was the most damnable outrage he has ever seen perpetuated by any citizen in the United States. And then this senator from Mississippi said it was like rats had taken over the White House. From there, Theodore Roosevelt, he caught so much controversy and so much, not controversy, he caught so much heat that no black person was invited to dinner at the White House for nearly 30 years. And this happened in, when did this event happen? 1901. So for 30 years after that, no black person was allowed in the White House. And listen to this. One final mockery rebounded after that affair. On October 17th, 1901, a day after the Washington dinner fiasco, Roosevelt issued an order officially naming the President's House, because that's what the White House was called. It wasn't called the White House. It was called the President's House. After the dinner fiasco with Booker T. Washington and Theodore Roosevelt, he officially named the president's residence the White House. That is how the White House got its name. After Booker T. Washington was invited there, which was a black man, Roosevelt caught so much heat from congressmen and different people in the community, he changed the name from the President's House to the White House. That's how the White House got its name. That wasn't its original name. Its original name was the President's House. But after Roosevelt invited Booker T. Washington to dinner in 1901, and he caught so much heat from the community and from congressmen and businessmen, on October 17th, 1901, he officially changed the name from the President's House to the White House. So that's how the White House got its name, because Booker T. Washington was invited to dinner. That's how the White House got its name. So he's basically saying, this isn't for black people. We're going to name it just who it's for, the White House. And still to today, it's called the White House. But how many people know how the White House got its name? I'm going to say it for a fourth time. It got its name by Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, inviting a black man, which no black people were hardly invited in the White House. This is as far as they could get. This Easter egg hunt. After he invited Booker T. Washington to dinner and got so much heat and outrage from the community, it used to be called the President's Residence. They changed it to the White House to let you and the whole world know this Oval Office is for white people. That's how it got the name the White House. Moving along, Mary Mahoney, first licensed black nurse in the U.S. in 1879. She couldn't even work in hospitals because she was black, so she had to practice nursing in people's homes. Her name was Mary Mahoney, the first licensed black nurse in the U.S. in 1879. She wasn't even allowed to practice in hospitals, wouldn't let her in. So she had to do nursing privately in people's homes. Her name is Mary Mahoney, first licensed black nurse. Couldn't even practice nursing in a hospital. Lord have mercy. Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer fought for black people to vote, suffered permanent injuries due to police beatings. Even after the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965, she still fought for equal rights. Fannie Lou Hamer, y'all heard of her before, suffered permanent damage because of police beatings, fighting for the Voting Rights Act of black people and brown people. And even after the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965, she was still out in the streets fighting for equal rights. Fannie Lou Hamer. How about Shirley Chisholm, first black woman elected to Congress in 1965 in New York and served for 14 years. Shirley Chisholm, first black woman elected to Congress in 1969, not that long ago, in New York and served for 14 years. Now we're going way back. How about our great ancestor, Harriet Tubman, one of my favorite, born in slavery in Maryland, then fled to Philadelphia, found her way to freedom, and she developed the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad, a system of freeing slaves and getting them from one slave plantation to another and eventually to freedom. It is said she freed as many as 300 slaves and could have freed more if they would have only knew that they were slaves. And she took slaves as far as Canada. Some people say she even brought some here to York. I haven't been able to confirm that, but maybe some of our historians out there, maybe our good brother Jeff Kirkland can confirm that. Harriet Tubman, she was born into slavery. She escaped, found her way to freedom, started the Underground Railroad, saved as many as 300 slaves and could have freed more if they would only had some heart and knew that they were slaves, and took slaves and freed them as far as up the border to Canada. Harriet Tubman, one of the greatest ancestors of all time, easily. Have you ever heard of this sister, Queen Anne Nzinga? Queen Anne Nzinga. We're putting your crown back on you tonight, queens. Take your crown and wear it with dignity. You don't got to do nothing extra to be the queen that you are. You were born with it. It's in your DNA. Dr. Louis Leakey confirmed that. You're the oldest human being found. 4 million years, 10 million years, they keep on digging. We're like an infinite circle. Wear your crown. Know who you are. You don't have to do nothing extra to be a queen. You don't got to do nothing extra to get a man. You can walk around with 10 blankets on and a man will still want you. You don't need no extra hair, no extra makeup, no extra nothing. You got it all. That's why every other woman is trying to be like you. And our Latino sisters too. They're like our cousins. You got it all. You got it all. I mean, Lord have mercy. It's hard for me to concentrate when I'm around you. That's how beautiful you are. But it's not about that. I'm just saying. You don't need nothing extra to make you beautiful. Queen Anne Nzinga, 1583 to 1663. She was born into a family in the Congo, in Angola. She was born into royalty. She fought against the colonization of the Portuguese all throughout her life. Queen Anne Nzinga. You can see a picture of her on the internet when she went in front of the Portuguese to negotiate to get them the hell out of her country, which was Angola, because they were trying to colonize it like they'd done all of Africa. They didn't want to recognize her as a queen. They wouldn't even give her a seat. You will see this on the internet. Some of the brothers there made a seat for her, a human seat, meaning the brothers leaned down on all fours and made a seat for Queen Anne Nzinga so she can sit in a dignified way in front of these European invaders. That's Queen Anne Nzinga. Again, when she went to negotiate and fight for the freedom of Angola from European invasion, mostly the Portuguese, they wouldn't even give the sister a seat. They said stand up because they didn't want to recognize her as a queen. So the brothers made a human seat for her. Leaned down on all fours, two brothers on both ends, and their heads connected. And she sat down on them brothers, and they made a human seat for her. You'll see it on the internet. All you got to do is Google Queen Anne Nzinga, Nzinga. She fought off European invasion all her life, and she was born into royalty, just like you. Just because you don't got a whole bunch of money don't mean you're royalty. It's in your DNA. Wear your crown. How about Queen Nefertari, Egyptian queen and first of the royal wives? And her name means beautiful companion, one of the best known queens of Africa. Next to Cleopatra and Queen Hatshepsut. She was very educated. She could read and write hieroglyphics, married to Ramses II. That's Queen Nefertari, one of the greatest queens of all of Africa. Probably only two that is more popular or well known than her, as they say, is Queen Cleopatra, who they try to make white. She was a sister. And Queen Hatshepsut. She was very educated, could read and write hieroglyphics, and married to Ramses II. Yeah. How about the women soldiers of Dahomey? The women soldiers of Dahomey, military leaders known as Dahomey Kingdom and the Dahomey Amazons in the 18th century, fought off once again European invasion and a major contributor of military power in Africa. They were known as the soldiers, the women soldiers of Dahomey, Dahomey. Military leaders, the women soldiers of Dahomey, military leaders. This was in the 18th century, and they were known as the Dahomey Amazons. This was a military unit of all sisters fighting off European invasion, trained with the guns and all. The Dahomey Amazons. I want you to Google that. Man, we was doing it all in the 18th century. Dahomey, the Dahomey Amazons, known as military leaders in the Dahomey Kingdom, fighting off European invasion in the 18th century, major contributors of military power. Last one, how about Ya Asantewaa? Ya Asantewaa, a queen mother of a tribe of Ghana, led once again an army of thousands during the War of Independence against the British in the 1900s. Ya Asantewaa, Y-A-A, Asantewaa, A-S-A-N-T-E-W-A-A, Queen Mother of the tribe of Ghana. She led an army of thousands. She was the leader during the War of Independence against the British invasion in the 1900s. Wear your crown, Queen. Wear your crown. Know who you are and be proud of who you are. And know that you don't need nothing extra to make you beautiful. You already beautiful. You got everything you need from head to toe. From head to toe. Be dignified. Do the best you can to keep that family unit together. You and the brother. And black man, respect this woman. I already showed you and proved to you that she is the most loyal woman on the face of this planet. She just has to know her place. Not know her place, know her rightful place as a queen. Yeah. Respect this woman. And if you got children by her, you really need to respect her. Because she has brought about your seed. She just needs to know and understand her rightful place as a queen. And once she realizes that, the whole dynamic is going to change. And then it's our part and our job to respect her and continue to elevate her back to her queenship, like all these beautiful women I have explained just in the near past. Just in the near past. This is just yesterday I just named some of this stuff. Ain't nothing no 500-600 years ago. Some of it like Queen Anne Nzinga. Know your rightful place, Queen. Know your rightful place and take it and wear it. Know who you are. And let's bring this family unit back together. Because once that happens, game over. Game over. So, finishing out, I want to take a couple youth to the Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore on October the 20th. If you can make it, we will get a specific time, a specific leaving place, and we'll go down there together as a group so we can get that group discount. October the 20th, inbox me if you're interested, and I have funding to pay for at least 5 youth. Big ups to my brother Jermaine Bailey for making this happen with his bike club. Again, adults is $15. Children between the ages of 12 and 17 is $14. Children between the ages of 3 and 11 is $12. And if we go as a group, we can all get in for $10.50. All right, that's October the 20th, which is a Saturday. We wanted to take the youth and the community to the Blacks in Wax Museum so we can learn and see our history right before our face. And we have some other things that we're planning here in the community to stop the violence. I'll leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.